Good afternoon, I'm Jess De Los Santos. This is One News Now. The Bicameral Conference Committee has started deliberating on the proposed national budget for 2023. To tell us more about this, we have Marian Enriquez joining us live from Mandaluyong. Maan, what happened in the Bicam?
Yes, Jess, the Senate and the House of Representatives convened today to begin its bicameral deliberations on the proposed 5.268 trillion peso national budget for next year. Both chambers will reconcile the discrepancies in their respective versions of their budget. The Senate contingent to the bicameral conference is led by Senate Finance Committee Chairman Senator Sonny Angara. He is joined by Senators Loren Legarda, Amy Marcos, Win Gatchalian, Bato de la Rosa, Winsar Hontiveros, Bongo, Francis Tolentino, Mark Villar, JV Ejercito, Cheese Escudero, and Jinggoy Estrada. Meanwhile, Appropriations Chair Elizalde Col led the House contingent with Representatives Stella Kimbo, Ralph Recto, Aurelio Gonzalez Jr., Manix Dalipe, Sandro Marcos, JJ Suarez, Neptali Gonzalez II, Nonoy Libanan, and Edsel Lagman, among others. In Senate's version of the budget, around 215 billion pesos were realigned programmed funds. This includes over 170 million pesos worth of confidential funds. In House's version of the appropriations bill, only 77.5 billion pesos were to be realigned. This includes additional funds for DOH, UPPGH, building of classrooms, funds for DepEd's special education, the Libreng Sakay program, and livelihood programs and financial assistance under DSWD. Despite the huge difference in funds to be realigned, Kimbo and Angara said that this will not affect their timeline. They aim to ratify the BICAM report by next week or before Congress adjourns for Christmas break. This will be the Marcos administration's first national budget. That's why the lawmakers are working hard to pass the measure on record time. One thing we'll have to keep an eye on is how much of the confidential and the intelligence funds will actually make it to the ratified version of the budget bill. Jess?
Thank you very much for those updates again. Marian Enriquez reporting to us live from Mandaluyong. Now, National Security Advisor Clarita Carlos admits that a note verbal is not enough to address the recent encounter with the Chinese Coast Guard near Pag-asa Island. Carlos told Radio 5 that there will be continuing talks between the Philippines and China over the incident. She explained that a note verbal is a diplomatic action which could help shed more light into what happened. Carlos has since stood by the Philippine Navy's account that the Chinese Coast Guard took by force an object believed to be rocket debris. China, on the other hand, says that a handover took place after friendly negotiations.
Not enough that handed-handed na yung binibigay nating protest na ganyan through a diplomatic note, pero kailangan ka kasing kumibo. Pero marami pang mga, siyempre, mga continuing dialogues. Yun naman sinabi ni President Bongbong, critical dialogue and critical engagement with China.
Carlos added that while the Philippine government's actions appear limited to diplomatic protests, there are other military-to-military engagements happening behind closed doors. President Bongbong Marcos is likewise scheduled to visit China next year following his initial meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping during the APEC summit.
Maraming beses na yung aggressive actions niya, but every time ay talagang sinasalubong natin ng protesta at iba pang pag-uusap. Kasi yun lang naman we have to continue negotiating, we have to continue talking kasi alam mo na yung alternative niyan na both of us will not want to go.
Meanwhile, one official from Caritas Philippines clarifies that Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle was not fired from Caritas Internationalis. In an interview with DZRH, Caritas Philippines Executive Secretary Father Tony Labiao said that Tagle's position as president of the charity network was left vacant to give way for their election next year. Earlier reports stated that Pope Francis ordered the removal of the entire leadership of Caritas Internationalis. According to the decree read by Cardinal Tagle himself, the decision to reorganize Caritas was not because of sexual abuse or financial mismanagement.
We assure everybody that this is a usual thing that we do every year. And for Caritas Internationalis, we do this because the election is due for next year, every 4 years ang general election. So no worry, and sana we continue our mission to serve the poor.
Father Labiao added that Tagle has served for 2 terms already, which means he is no longer eligible for re-election. Despite this, Cardinal Tagle's relationship with the Pope remains strong.
Actually, binibiro nga namin, no, nung after binasa niya yung decree, siyempre kami din nagtatanong, no. So binibiro namin siya. Alam mo naman si Cardinal Tagle, 'di ba? Kilala natin siya. Pangiti-ngiti lang, patawa-tawa, no. At saka sabi niya, we need to work together so that we will continue to prepare for the General Assembly, and hopefully we will improve our confederation.
More stories after this short break. Stay with us here on One News Now. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Jess De Los Santos. The remains of over 50 Bilibid inmates have been laid to rest in Muntinlupa. A mass was held for the deceased inmates before they were buried at the New Bilibid Prison Cemetery inside the Bilibid compound. Families of the dead inmates were not present in the burial. This is the second funeral rites held for the dead inmates, whose bodies were left unclaimed at a funeral home in Muntinlupa. Most of the inmates died of heart and respiratory diseases, according to the Bilibid Hospital. Some 60 cadavers will also be buried next week.
Ihahatid natin sila. Tayo na po ang tatayong mga kamag-anak nila, mahal sa buhay. Dahil alam nyo naman po, pagka kayo dumaan dito, lahat ng network, gusto namin na malaman ninyo na mahal namin itong mga ililibing na ito at maasa kami na magkakaroon sila ng panibagong buhay.
Experts are now examining the skeletal remains found inside the Justice Department's compound. Here's the report.
The Justice Department suspended construction activities inside its compound in Manila. This came after skeletal remains were recovered from an excavation site on Thursday.
Ang nakita na bungo na buo, isa. So, hindi pa natin alam dahil may iba fragments. Pwede mag-speculate eh. Siguro at this point in time, we leave it to the forensics first.
The fragments are now with the Investigation Bureau's forensic team for examination. One thing they noticed was that the skull appeared to be punctured.
We don't know the date, the age of the remains. So, yan ay trabaho ng forensic ng NBI. So, hintayin natin.
DOJ Chief Boying Remulla said this is not the first time that skeletal remains were found in the area.
History talaga rito. When that was dug up, pero hindi nahanap na nung inayos yung building na yon. I guess Manila is a very old city. We don't know. But we look at the NBI. They might have more ideas.
In a tweet, forensic expert Dr. Raquel Fortun also said that this has already happened before. She added that the remains found could date back to World War II. Fortun suggested to refer the remains to experts from the University of the Philippines for further study. For now, the DOJ is hopeful that the incident will not delay the timeline for construction inside the compound.
Baka mamaya, we might stumble upon more remains. Tingnan natin. Sana hindi na. Na-delay na nga kasi ito eh. Kasi we had to ask for a redesign of the building eh. Kaya na-delay yan eh. So it's delayed enough.
For News 5, Justine Punsalang. We are One News.
For more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World Online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Jess De Los Santos. We are One News.